Had I known more about the South Korean action movie The Child before its release in Japan, I would have made sure to rush to theaters to see it on its opening day. The film was released in Japan later than most countries, but I was able to finally watch it from a small art house theater in Tokyo after its release here on April 12th, 2024. There wasn't the type of heavy promotion for the film like what we would see for big action blockbusters such as John Wick or the Fast and Furious films. However, The Child had many who watched it feeling that it was one of the best action movies of the 2000s. Simply put, instead of getting an earache or rolling my eyes in disbelief, as what many other members of the audience did during the aforementioned action movie franchises from Hollywood, The Child put a smile on my face, which I'm sure you too will have the same effect when you see the film. What is the film The Child? The Child is a 2023 South Korean neo-noir action thriller film directed by Park Hoon-jung. The movie stars Kim Seon-ho, Kang Tae-ju in his film debut, Kim Kang-woo, and Go Ara. It was originally released theatrically on June 21st, 2023, whereas in Japan, the film's release was on April 12th, 2024. The plot revolves around the protagonist Marco, who is a half-Korean, half-Filipino man living in the Philippines, taking care of his sick mother and participating in illegal fights to make ends meet. His life takes a dramatic turn when he's approached by a lawyer claiming to represent his estranged father. Urgently flown to South Korea, Marco finds himself embroiled in a dangerous web of deceit. He's targeted by an assassin known only as the Nobleman. Marco is also pursued by Han Yi-sa, a wealthy heir, and Yoon-ju, a mysterious woman. As Marco navigates through a series of life-threatening situations, he's faced to confront shocking truths about his family and heritage, and all the while trying to secure funds for his mother's surgery. So, we have this setup for an underdog story on a quest to secure the means of caring for his mother, and throughout the journey we're treated with high-speed chases in luxury cars, running along rooftops with acrobatic finesse in hot pursuit, intense gunfights, and flashy fight choreography, all the action movie essentials executed exceptionally well in The Child. But what is also interesting about the film is a certain theme that the two main characters in the film, Marco and the Nobleman, share, and with varying perspectives at that. I'm sure you and I would agree both that life often takes us on a twisted, topsy-turvy ride from point A to point B, along a path riddled with moments of aloneness that make us constantly wondering if we're going to have to go the rest of the way on our own or not. The Child weaves such a tale with two contrasting perspectives of aloneness. One, a young man burdened by the weight of premature responsibility, and the other, an enigmatic assassin who finds not just solace, but a smile in the presence of his own company. At the center of the film, we have Marco, a man whose youth was dealt a difficult hand in life, finding himself playing the role of parent, provider, and protector with little to no resources to aid him. His aloneness was not a choice, but a somber reality, a constant companion in his struggle to forge a semblance of normalcy for those he holds dear. In stark contrast, we have the Nobleman, a figure shrouded in mystery, whose very aloneness in essence is an art. If he had chosen his path to deliberately revel in his aloneness, then it grants him strength, control, and an enigmatic aura that both intrigues and distances. As Marco and the Nobleman cross paths, it's clear they're both dealing with aloneness in their own ways. Marco is struggling to be noticed by a world that doesn't seem to care, while the Nobleman is enjoying the aloneness he chose for himself. The Child not only offered a thrill ride of an action movie, but it also got me thinking about the different sides of being alone. how it molds us, tears us down, and in the end becomes a part of who we are. Living in a relatively Buddhist country like Japan, aloneness or solitude is often viewed as an important aspect of the spiritual path. It is not seen as something to be avoided, but rather as an opportunity for deep self-reflection and personal growth. The concept of aloneness in Buddhism is associated with the practice of meditation and mindfulness, where one learns to be at peace with their own company, observing thoughts and emotions without judgment. In the film The Child, the theme of aloneness can be seen as a duality, one that is both a tormenting and triumphant experience for all of us to go through in whatever life we live. And the contrast between the two main characters of Marco and the nobleman can serve as an poignant illustration of the chaotic yet necessary element of aloneness. This deepens the narrative of the child with identity and heritage as one of the resonating themes in the film. The protagonist, Marco, is of mixed heritage as a Kopino, a person of Korean and Filipino descent. This plays a central role in his quest for identity and belonging. The film explores the challenges he faces in reconciling his dual identity and the impact of his lineage on his choices. When you're from two different worlds like Marco, you're not sure what to make of yourself, let alone what others think of you. It's a dilemma that can be mentally and physically exhausting, trying to fit into the expectations of other people. The fight or flight mechanisms of survival from this can get confused as well. For Marco, they're both on overdrive, which made for an exciting action-adventure, and for the viewer, a metaphor for others who face a similar theme in their own lives. Marco's sense of aloneness in the child could be influenced by several cultural nuances, such as 1. Bicultural identity. Being of mixed heritage with a Korean father and a Filipino mother, Marco could be seen feeling disconnected from both cultures and not fully belonging to either. 2. Socioeconomic status. His background as someone from a lower socioeconomic status in the Philippines contrasted sharply with the affluence he encounters in South Korea, furthering his sense of aloneness. 3. Cultural expectations. The differing societal expectations and norms between his Filipino upbringing and Korean heritage created for Marco internal conflict and a sense of not fitting in anywhere. And 4. Family dynamics. The traditional roles and relationships within families can differ greatly between cultures, and Marco's role reversal as a caretaker for his parents made him feel out of place in both societies. These cultural factors, combined with his personal circumstances, contributed to a complex mosaic of aloneness that affected Marco's interactions and his emotional journey throughout the film. The only true means at Marco's dispense was his ability to communicate fully in either of his parents' languages. Without this skill that Marcos cultivated himself, the ability to cross language barriers, he would have been without leverage in this difficult situation he found himself in, trying to negotiate with all of the forces at play throughout his journey. If Marco was not fluent in either Korean, Tagalog, and English as well, this could have intensified his feelings of alienation and aloneness. All this also adds another layer of complexity to the film's title, The Child, and its relation to Marco with his role as the caretaker for his terminally ill parents, which positioned him as the adult in the family dynamic rather than the child. This reversal of roles can be rich with thematic significance. For example, themes such as forced maturity, where Marco's premature transition into the role of a parent figure suggests a life that has been accelerated by necessity, stripping away the leisure of a gradual maturation process. Another theme that the film takes on is the irony of the title becoming ironic as it contrasts sharply with Marco's lived reality. He is a child in name only, bearing responsibilities that are far beyond his years. And yet another example of theme in the film is resilience and sacrifice, as Marco forgoes his own needs and possibly his dreams to provide for his family, highlighting the theme of resilience and sacrifice. This contradiction between the title and Marco's actual role within his family could serve to emphasize the disparity between societal expectations of youth and the harsh truths that some individuals face. It's a poignant reminder that not everyone has the luxury of a carefree childhood or adolescence. The Nobleman, on the other hand, presents a different take on aloneness. His aloneness is not born of vulnerability, but is instead a chosen path. He may find solace in his independence, using it as a shield from the world's complexities and perhaps as a way to maintain control over his life and actions. This self-imposed aloneness can be seen as a form of empowerment, where solitude is embraced rather than lamented. Through the Nobleman, the film might be suggesting that there is strength in choosing to stand alone, and that solitude can be a source of power and self-actualization. While Marco's aloneness is a hurdle to overcome, the Nobleman's solitary existence is almost a character in itself, shaping his decisions and interactions with the world. The Nobleman, too, has his own duality. The Nobleman plays both guardian angel and demon of destruction to Marco. The Nobleman's dual role as both a guardian angel and a demon of destruction in his pursuit of Marco adds a compelling layer of complexity to the child. This duality can be interpreted in several ways. 1. The Nobleman's contradictory actions could reflect the film's exploration of moral ambiguity, where characters embody both good and evil, challenging the viewer's perceptions of right and wrong. 2. His role as a guardian angel may not be purely benevolent. It could be a form of protective aggression, where he shields Marco from others but also asserts his own control over him. And 3. The Nobleman could symbolize the internal conflict within Marco, representing the forces of guidance and destruction that he must navigate on his journey. This dichotomy in the Nobleman's character serves to deepen the narrative, offering a nuanced look at the themes of protection, control, and the fine line between salvation and ruin. In storytelling, contrasting characters' experiences with aloneness can highlight different aspects of the human condition. Marco's aloneness drives his journey forward, pushing him to seek connections and a sense of belonging. On the other hand, the Nobleman's aloneness serves to emphasize the barriers he has built around himself, which could be both his strength and his downfall. The interplay between these two characters' experiences with being alone adds depth to the narrative that is uncommon for many action movies. This depth of the child can invite us to consider the various shades of aloneness and how it shapes our own choices and relationships as well as the characters in the film. What we could say then through films such as The Child is that actually aloneness is a shared experience. The theme of aloneness in films often reflects broader societal issues that many can relate to, such as disconnection in a hyper-connected world, creating a collective resonance with the audience, or, in Marco's case, being mixed race and not feeling belonged to or welcomed in either. When art, including film, has the power to convey the depths of human emotion, including the pain and poignancy of being alone, we engage with these expressions, we share in the emotional journey, thus experiencing aloneness together. When we see characters like Marco and the Nobleman grappling with their aloneness, we empathize because we recognize those feelings from our own experiences. This empathy bridges the gap between our isolated experiences. The notion that aloneness is a shared experience suggests that while the feeling of being alone is deeply personal, it is also a universal human condition that connects us all. In essence, while aloneness is felt on an individual level, it is also a feeling that transcends individuality, connecting us to the larger human experience. The commonality in aloneness is that even though aloneness is experienced individually, the fact that everyone at some point feels alone creates a common ground. It's a paradoxical connection that unites people through a shared understanding of aloneness. It is through the thematic essence of the film, along with its exceptionally crafted, timed, and executed action sequences, that I am more than willing to say that The Child is one of the best action films ever made, especially in recent times. However, if themes like this is not your main interest for an action movie, no worries. The Child is still first and foremost a thrilling action-adventure story of survival, identity, and the lengths one will go in order to protect one's family. It is a film that has been justifiably noted for its intense action sequences, engaging story, as well as the relatable characters that I hope I have been able to convince you to be interested and curious to have a look at for yourself. I hope you'll give this film a chance. Please let me and others know what you thought about The Child in the comments section. In the meantime, thank you for making it this far into the video. I hope you too will go far in your writing and traveling, and anything else you wish to do and experience in this great adventure we call life. Until next time, I look forward to our next time together at the right table.